Hello, Simone here from Loom, and today I will be showing you how to make this Panoramix figurine from Asterix and Obelix. There's already a tutorial online to do Asterix, so if you like it, you might want to check that one out. Anyway, we're going to start by making his cape, which we will attach later on when we are working on the body. For his cape, you need your red bands, and you need your a loom that you can change, because we're going to change it quite a lot while making it. And we're going to start in this position, to just straight position. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab 7 bands, and we're going to place each band on one of the packs on my right row, so 7 packs in a row. You can start at the top or the bottom or somewhere in the middle. I'm just gonna do it in the middle. 5, 6, 7. Alright. Oh, this one is orange. Okay. Now on each pack we're gonna come up with one band at a time, but we're gonna come up twice, just like that. And we're going to do that on each of the rows we're making. All single bands. The whole cape is all single banded. Alright, we created the bottom of our cape now, and what we have to do is we've got to place some capping bands and some holding bands. I'm going to start with the capping bands. I'm going to use 3 capping bands, one on these 3 packs, one on these 3 packs, and one on the middle 3. And each time I make a capping band, what I will do is I'll first start and just put it on top like that. And then on each end pack I'm going to create 1 extra loop, just like that. After I did that, I'm just taking this band and pull it over. So you got 2 loops here coming underneath the middle pack, and 2 loops on that pack. I'm going to do that here, and after that I'm going to do that in the middle. So again, just grab a band, put it over your 3 packs. Create an extra loop on one side, an extra loop on the other, and just put it over the middle. Again in the middle, 3 packs, 1 extra loop right here, an extra loop, and put it over. That's our capping bands. Now for our holding bands, on this row I'm going to place the holding bands on each 3 packs, on these 3, these 3, and these 3. They got a small overlap, but that's okay. And on this row I wanted to, when it comes up, I want it to be getting smaller, just slightly. And what I will do is I'll put a holding band on 4 packs. So I'm just using 2 holding bands for this row, on 4 and on 4. And what we can do now is we can loom up each of the rows. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to go in, grab the bottom band, and loom it back onto itself. So just like this, and now you create teardrops. So go ahead and do that for the whole row. Go all the way in through all the capping bands and grab the band, loop it onto itself. Okay, and the next row. Right. Okay, this is my last one. What I'm going to do now, when you looped up all the rows, I'm going to take up these two columns and leave this one on the pegs, because after that we're going to transfer. You can use your hook or your fingers, it doesn't really matter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the row with the bands on it off my loom, and I'm actually going to take the whole loom apart, or you can leave the middle row on, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, when I'm going to reattach it, I want these to be crossed and the next row to be straight, because I'm going to go smaller to 6 and stay on 6 for another row. So what we're going to do now is the same principle, but this time I'm going to lay 6 bands here first on the ones that come in, and then we're going to lay some more bands. But first 6 bands on these 6 pegs. Six, just like that. And now I'm gonna place 6 more bands from each peg, going up or down, depending on how you look at it. But anyway, five and 6. Alright, what we do now for the bands here, we're going to use the ones we already placed, and we have to go from 7 pegs to 6, which means I'm going to take the first 3 down and the next 4 I'm going to do the diagonal up, so that on one peg somewhere in the middle there's 2 bands instead of 1. So right here I'm going to create a little V and come up the diagonal. Okay, just like that. What we are going to do now is place some holding bands again, and on both rows I'm going to place it on 4 pegs. So again, I'll take a holding band and use it on 4 pegs, and on that side as well. And on this row the same thing. Now with all our bands in place, we can start looming up again, and once again when you're done you can take it off, and we're going to take the loom apart and transfer. So here I go, loom up, go in through all the bands, grab the bottom one and loom it onto itself. Make sure you go through all the bands, some of them are a bit loose so they're quite easy to miss. So here you got 2 bands going there. You want that cross to be somewhere in the middle because it just works the best. If you have multiple looms, you could make this with less transfers. You need about, I think, 3.5 or 4 looms to do the whole thing in total. So we just transfer, but yeah, if you have multiple looms, it could be easier to make the whole thing in once. After this, we're gonna go rows of 5, and we're gonna do, I think it's 4 rows out of my head. So if you have 2 looms, you can set that up all in once. But yeah, because most people just have 1 loom or 1.5 or something, I'm showing you how to do the whole thing on 1 loom. And it's not that much extra work, it's just you gotta take it off. Alright, here we are. I loomed up all the rows, so I'm gonna take my finished part of the cape off again and leave it on those pegs. I'm gonna use my fingers. Just and I can take it apart again. Okay, I'm placing it on this side again, and I want the first row to be in an offset position because I want to loom back to 5 packs, and the next one I want to be straight. Again, we'll place bands here to transfer later with first, and it's going to be 5 bands. Then like that. And again, I'll place my first row just of 5 bands right there. And after that, sorry, I'm gonna use these bands that we already laid for this row, and again I'm gonna make it a cross in the middle, not a V. So this one's coming down the first tree, and now I'm gonna go and make diagonals face upwards. Alright, on both of these rows we're going to place holding bands on 3 packs, just like that, so they overlap on the middle pack, so 3 packs each holding band. And again, we're ready to loop up row by row, so go in underneath all the bands and loop it onto itself. It's all the same technique. Going in, loom it onto itself. Alright, next row. Okay, and again I'm ready to take all this part off. Make sure you really looped every one, you didn't miss a single one, because then your whole cape will fall apart, or at least a big part of it, and you will have to do it again. So just check if you've made all teardrops and then take it up, and we'll transfer again. And this time it's going to be all the straight position, because I'm going to make rows of 5, and I'm going to start by placing my 5 transfer bands, and then my 5 bands like this. Okay, and the last 5 I'm going to use the bands just like we did before, that we already placed on here, to go right up there. Alright, on these 2 rows we will be placing our holding bands on 4 packs, just like that. 4 and 4, so you have a very big overlap, but it's just a little bit tighter, and that's good for the cape shape, so just do it like that and start looming up again. Make sure to create all teardrops, just like that, make every row. And let me take this small time to tell you that if you have any suggestions on other figurines I could make, just leave a comment on underneath the video or on my Facebook page. The link will be in the description, and I'll just see what I can do. I will only do tutorials on figurines that don't have a proper tutorial yet, so keep that in mind. Go and look on YouTube first before you do a request. Anyway, we're going to take it up again. And be careful not to break your bands, it will be quite devastating. Just like that. And this is the last time we have to transfer. So we're going to do the top bit of the cape now. And again, all in straight position. I'm going to use all 5 rows. But this time it's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to place one band on one end and one band on the other. Just like that. And from this to the top I'm going to go 2 in, and from the bottom of his cape, or well, the left and the right side in the end, we're going to go 2 bands in. That has to do with the order we're going to loom in. So I'm going to place this one first. Just like that, from that there. And then from the bottom to the top. That way, this straight line, the top of his cape, kind of, we're going to start looming from the middle, and it just gives the best effect. You won't really get a line, but just a bit of a color there. Anyway, I'm going to grab these last bands and place them right on top. And we don't have to do holding bands this time, because we're using these bands that we just placed, and we're going to loom them. I'm going to loom these 5 first, and then I'll show you how to do that row. Okay, just like this. Now you need to pay attention, because we're going to start at this back and loom one side up and the other side up. So we go make a little L-shaped. I'm going to go the L-shaped way. I'm going to take the top one. For me, that's the one going down. And I get the cap band off. So let me. Because they're all single bands, they're quite loose, and in this case I should just use my finger to keep it on there, just like that. Now it's okay. Mine came off, but I fixed it. Anyway, we're gonna go all the way down, and then do this one. Let me see. And to this side, to the top side as well. And here we go. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to take it off and I'm going to place these 2 ends on a holding hook. I'm using the plastic ones that come with the bands. You can also use a toothpick or a pencil or spare hook, or basically just whatever you want. I'm going to take this side off first. And then I'll take my hook. I'm just going to go in and place it on there. If you don't have a holding hook, you can very carefully just lay it out. But I would really suggest you use a hook, because we used all single bands and they do come apart quite easily. Anyway, you made this cape. I don't want any of my holding bands sticking out at the side, so I'm going to pull them in a little, just like that. And here is this cape, just like the one that's already on the figurine. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to make his knife that will go into his belt later on. For that you need the brown, green, transparent and yellow bands. So here we go. More browns. And my transparent. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all I'm going to set my loom in the offset position again. And then I'll take my brown bands, I'm going to double loop them, so they're going to be quite tight. And I'm going to place them on the middle row, and I'm going to come down 3 times. Then I'm going to take 1 green band and do the same, coming down once. So you got 3 brown and 1 green, and I'm going to place 5 yellow ones in kind of an unclosed hexagon, all double looped. So take a yellow double loop. First the diagonal, then coming down, the diagonal coming in. That one broke. So I'm gonna go around and come up for the last one. Now first of all I'm gonna place some holding bands. Those will be my transparent bands. They will keep a little knife in a round, and I'm gonna double loop them as well. And I'm going to place them on all the diagonals. So the first one is going to be this line. I'm going to do that line and that line next. So all the diagonals just across, making a little star shape form. And the last band I'm going to place will be a holding band, and or a capping band, I'm sorry, and it will be capped off with 4 loops. So 2, 3 and 4. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to loop up this way, and then we'll make a slip knot there with a brown band, and we can take it off. I was already afraid of that. I can only afford 2 more snapping bands because these are my last bands of that yellow color. Otherwise I have to use some other yellow. But I think we'll be alright. We should be. Okay. What? Come on. Yeah. So that one's fixed. Sorry about that, but I did once buy quite a bad quality multicolour package, and every time I only need about 5 or 6 of a certain colour, I use those. But they do have a tendency to snap every now and then, so. Well, slightly more than every now and then. What's happening to this one? Yeah, it did snap. That's 3 yellow bands that snapped in total. I only got 1 more spare. Sorry about this, it will take a little bit longer, but we'll get there in the end. Just gonna pull 1 loop through first, and then go out and find the other loop. That one's done. Just gonna go in and release some tension there. Yep. And these ones go a little bit easier because of how the bands are positioned. Well, anyway, I'm done with my the knife, the blade part. I'm gonna do the handle part. Just loop up. Make sure you go underneath all bands and loop right through. Okay, and as said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a slip knot here. That means I'm going to go through all the loops with my hook, just like that. I'm going to place one band, a brown band, on my hook, go right through it, and I'm going to place this band back. So that's the first part. Now the loop that's first on the hook, I'm going to grab it and pull it over the other one that stays on my hook. I'm just going to pull. Now I created what we call a slip knot, and it will tie it off so that it can't fall apart. I'm just going to take it off. I'm going to use my hook because everything is so tight and I don't want any more bands to snap. Yeah. There we go, and now I've created his knife that actually stays in a round, because he's got a round knife, a circle like the blade, and later on we will place it just like this. You can put it off underneath his belt, so that's what we already finished at. Anyway, this is the end of part 1 of my tutorial. In part 2 I will show you how to make his body and probably his beard as well. I will see how much time I need for the body, because I can only film about 35 minutes at a time. So just go ahead and go to part 2 of the tutorial. The link will be in the description if you can't find it. And I hope you enjoy making the rest of Panoramix.